Hello, welcome to this presentation of the Psycanics Life Transformation Program. It's a 5-year program in which you recreate first your being, who you are, and then that will transform the rest of your life, because as we'll see, everything in your life flows out of your being. I'm Michael Powell, and this body of knowledge, Psycanics, are based on my discoveries during 40 years of investigation of mysticism, cosmology, and ontology at a cost of over $5 million. It's all yours for a pittance. Okay, so what is Psycanics? It's the science of psychons. To understand Psycanics, okay, we must start with what is a psychon. Okay, you are a psychon. You are a non-physical entity of consciousness and will. You are an aware will unit entity, which is a being or a spirit. A life energy entity is a spirit. This is what you are. The technical name for such entities is psychon. We don't use the name soul or spirit or anything related with religion because, one, this is a science, and by that I mean everything is verifiable. We don't say anything that you have to believe. You can check everything in your own experience. And number two, because we have a very precise definition for what is a psychon and where it comes from and what is nature. Okay? So when we use the word psychon, we are talking about the non-physical, which is to say spiritual, life energy entity, being, or spirit of consciousness and will, which is what you are in your highest element of being. Okay? You, psychon, do not come from the physical universe. Okay, now, a lot of sciences like biology and psychology, although psychology isn't technically a science, think that who you are, that is your spirit, your consciousness, your will, okay, that has evolved with your body from the planet Earth, from matter. This is not at all true. Okay, you, psychon, come from a higher dimension. You come from the one infinite spirit itself. Okay, now your body does come from earth, okay, that is from matter, but you, psychon, that is this part, the experience and control unit, the aware will, the consciousness, do not come from earth. Okay, earth is in the physical universe. You are not physical, and nothing, the physical universe cannot create non-physical things. Non-physical things create the physical universe. Okay? So you have this aware will unit, which you are, and you have a physical body, which does come from the earth, and which is your physical instrument and vehicle to operate and play here in materia. That is in matter. The totality of all that you are, because you're more than just aware, will, and consciousness, you have 13 other major characteristics of spirit. So the totality of all you are and where you come from is explained in Essentiality, which is a scientific spirituality. Again, by scientific, we mean that everything that it says can be verified in an experience. And we're distinguishing between religions, which are dogmas and doctrines that want belief and faith, and which provide no proof or evidence of what they say. Okay? Everything in essentiality you can prove to yourself in your own experience. Okay? So we have here, although we're not going to go into essentiality at all, we have actually two fields of knowledge. One is essentiality, and the other is psychanics. Okay, now the difference between these is that essentiality is scientific information about spirit. Not only your spirit, but the one infinite great spirit from which you come, which is the creator being of all that is. We call that essence, because she is the essence of everything. So sensuality is the nature of essence, which is your origin, your spiritual origin. And it's about your perception of, communication, and relationship with that one being, infinite being, essence, okay? In essentiality, you can learn to transcend the illusion that you are only a human being and recover your experience of that you are an infinite spirit, immortal spirit, and you can reconnect with essence. Okay, this is called spiritual awakening when you do it. You transcend the illusion that you're only a human being to recover your consciousness and experience that you're an immortal spiritual being, that you came to earth to play and to adventure, and that you can reconnect and communicate with essence from which you come, and which is your original nature anyway. Okay? Now, Psycanics, okay, has nothing to do with essence or anything. Psycanics is purely how your life on earth works. Okay, first of all, it's about everything that's non-physical in your experience, your emotions, your thoughts, your behaviors, your addictions, your relationships, love and happiness and pain and suffering and all your negative emotions and anger and fear. All of these things are non-physical energies. They don't come from the physical universe. You bring them with you when you come here. Okay, and so Psycanics is about how all that works, and therefore about how you are behaving and experiencing here on earth as a human being. Okay, so it covers your emotions and therefore your happiness. It covers your behaviors and therefore addictions and compulsions. And it recovers your relationships, and therefore your love and your joy and your like or dislike and how well you get along with other people. All that is Psycanics. Okay, so there's a very clear line between one and the other. Psycanics has to do with your life on earth and how to control it, and essentiality is about your life as a spirit and your connection with the one infinite spirit. Okay? However, Psycanics comes from essentiality. Okay, now how does that work? Well, you're a spirit. And you retain here, even in earth, when you come to earth, you retain all your characteristics and nature of spirit, including, for example, your being, your identities, your emotions, your thoughts. Thoughts are non-physical energies. Okay? The ability to think is something you bring with you from the higher realms when you come to earth. It does not come from matter. Your emotions are not an evolution of you as a product of matter. Okay, all your psychanic, your non-physical energies, your emotions and your thoughts and your motivations and your values and even your relationships, because relationships are how you are relating with other spiritual beings. They have a body, but they're not their body either. Okay, so relationships are primarily psychanic. Hugs and sex are physical, but the way that you talk to others and you feel about them and you get along with them and likes and dislikes for others, all that is non-physical, and so it's psychanic. Okay? So Psycanics comes from essentiality because you are a spiritual being. Essentiality describes your nature as a spiritual being, and you bring that with you here to earth. You continue to be a spiritual being, and all the rules of spirituality, all the rules of your non-physical energies, your emotions, your thoughts, and your minds, and your impulses, and all that still apply and still operate. Okay? So you, spirit psychen, are incarnating. Incarnating is to become carnate, which is meat, to take on a body, on earth, and pretending to be only a human being. You are in the illusion that you are only a human being in order to star in your human adventure movie, which is your life. Okay, you, psych and spirit, come here to earth, okay, to be in the human movie and have all the experiences and dramas and everything going on here, the same way as you, human, go to the movies to experience all the drama in the plot and of the movie. Okay, it's the same thing, except spiritual movies are full immersion, four-dimensional, perfect experience. You don't just watch them, you are in them, living them. Okay, and that's what you're doing here on earth. You here came to earth for the human adventure experience, to explore what it is to be a human being, to have limitations, to have negative emotions, to relate with other human beings, to explore sex and money and success and failure. All that's great experience. And the ultimate purpose of existence is experience. That's what it's all about. The creation is an experience. It's a movie theater. Okay? Okay, so you, Psychic, have a human body and you have a human identity complex, which contains your personality and your character and your likes and dislikes and your talents and everything that makes you a unique human being. All this is a non-physical energy structure around you, okay? But these are not who you are, no more than an actor is his roles. This is like a suit of clothes that you put on to play a role here, okay, your human identity complex. In advanced psychanics, we go into this human identity complex and you can change it. You can change your character and your personality and your habits and your likes and your dislikes, because this is all a non-physical energy program that acts on you, the consciousness, to create your illusion of being a human being. Okay, so basically you are a spirit with a human identity complex programming operating a body on Earth. Okay, so in summary, you are a psyche, a non-physical spirit entity of consciousness and will. Conscious is the ability to perceive energies, to experience things, and thereby to know, to feel your thoughts, to experience your emotions. That's consciousness. And your will is your power to move energy, to decide I want more money, or I want a relationship, or and also to discreate your negative emotions and things like that. Okay, so it's your ability to control your non-physical energies, your emotions and thoughts. Okay, and together you are that exploring the human experience. Okay, now let's go into what Psycanics is, because it's many things. Okay, first of all, it's a science. Okay, it's not a belief system. It's actually even a hard science. It has laws and formulas and equations, and it is all verifiable, okay? When we say your emotions work like this and you can discreate them, then we will show you the technology by which you can experience and verify this, okay? So the difference between a belief system and a science system is verification, proof, and evidence. Dogmas and doctrines and religions, they have no proof or evidence. Okay? Okay, so all of this is you're the science of your inner life, which includes your emotions, your minds, your behaviors, your impulses, your addictions, your resistances to taking action, to flojera, and therefore the sum of all those constitutes happiness or suffering in life. Okay? So there's nothing in your life that's going on that is random or accidental. Everything is a science of your internal energies, that is your experience, okay? Another way to say this is that science is a physics of your internal non-physical energies and experience, okay? So you have physical experience through the body, but you also have an entire universe of non-physical experiences which is private and internal or interior to you. And in that are all your emotions, which have positive emotions and negative emotions. You have joy and passion, enthusiasm and contentment, satisfaction, likes. And then you have anger and hate and fear and guilt and depression and sadness and loneliness, okay? So you have this spectrum of emotional energies. Then you have your thoughts. Your thoughts are little energy realities, okay? They're non-physical images and ideas and things that exist in your subconscious, and then you pull them in and you're experiencing those. Remember the house where you grew up, okay? That's a mental image here in your subconsciousness. You decide to remember it, and your will pulls it into you, and you can see that mental image. You perceive it with your consciousness. Obviously, you're not seeing it with your physical eyes, okay? So here are your thoughts, everything in your mind, your memories, your knowledge, your values, your motivations, your impulses, your obsessions, your compulsions, your addictions, your blocks to action like writer's block, laziness, flojera, phobias. all of that stuff, everything going on in you, non-physical, is energy forms existing in your subconsciousness and acting on you as consciousness to control your behaviors and your experience. And these things are either happiness, they're positive and that's happiness, or they're negative and they cause you unhappiness, pain, and suffering. Okay? Including how you handle your relationships and get along with others, your ability to communicate and negotiate. All of that is psychanic. And all of it exists by laws and principles, just like things do in the physical universe. Okay? So psychanics is a science. It's a science that's most similar to physics of energy and matter. It's the physics of your non-physical psychanic energies, emotions and thoughts and everything else you got going on inside of you. Okay? And it's a psychology. Okay? Because it describes human experience and behavior with a set of formulas. It's very exact in this. Why people do what they do. Okay? It explains all of it. You know, it explains addictions and compulsions and why people have relationship problems and conflicts. And of course, it gives you very exact solutions to all that. Again, solutions that you can verify. Psychanics is much more a hard science of psychology than traditional psychology is. Psychology is normally considered a soft science because it doesn't have very rigid laws and formulations. Psychanics is not that way. It's very exact, very rigid in its laws and formulations. Okay? So it's a psychology of why you feel what you do, why you do what you do, why other people treat you the way you do, and above all, of course, it has a technology of change of all those things quickly. Okay? It's not just a theoretical knowledge, the science, there's also a technology of application, which we call being transformation technology. Okay? So psychanics it evolves psychology into a hard science of formulas and equations that explain human behavior and human experience. It explains exactly where your emotions come from. It explains where your negative emotions come from. It explains exactly what is happiness. Okay, and shows why most people don't reach it because they don't understand what it is or how it works. We have an entire 5-video series on that, by the way, on happiness. Okay? And psychanics is a philosophy. Okay? The ultimate purpose of philosophy is to lead you to happiness. Okay? Now, in philosophy, there's a lot of things going on. You got principles, values, ethics, responsibility, integrity, honesty, attitude, purpose, trust, acceptance, authenticity, and the acceptance of others and of yourself, of course. Okay? But the real the very essence of philosophy is what is the true nature of life? How does it really work? And the underlying purpose is, okay, knowing how it works and what it's all about, how do I produce happiness? Okay? Everybody has a philosophy of life. They may not even consciously know what it is, but everybody has a system of values and a system of what they should do and shouldn't do, and then some kind of idea of what is happiness and how am I going to reach it. Okay? Some people's philosophy might be just to get a lot of money and money is happiness, no? Or relationships and family is happiness, or power and fame is happiness, okay? Whatever, okay? Everybody has a philosophy. They may or may not know consciously what it is, and we're not saying that it works to bring happiness, just that everybody has one, okay? Obviously, the vast majority of philosophies that people have don't bring them happiness. Okay, so you have a formal philosophy where people study and write about it throughout history. But even so, everybody, if they've never studied anything about philosophy, even so, they have their goals and their values and what they will do and won't do. Some people will kill, other people won't. You know, that's part of your philosophy. Your morality is part of your philosophy. Okay? So you have a philosophy, whether you know it or not. And happiness is the deepest and ultimate motivation of all human behavior. Everything that everybody does in the deepest level of their motivation is always for their happiness. And we have an absolute scientific proof of that. We're not going to go into it here, okay? So every human being, without exception, has a philosophy of life. Most do not work, and therefore few people ever achieve true happiness, which is living in positive emotions of love, enthusiasm, and joy all the time, no matter what, without negative emotions. Okay, again, the happiness video explains that. Okay? And Psycanics is an introduction and a preparation for true spirituality. Okay, now here we need to define what is spirituality, because spirituality has nothing to do with religions. Okay? Religions are ideas, belief systems, dogmas, and doctrines about the nature of a God, if there is one. Okay, we're not saying there is or there isn't. We don't have an opinion about it in Psycanics. Okay, but you are a spirit. You are a non-physical, aware will entity that comes from the great spirit that's the creator of the universe. Okay, so you can come to know yourself as the spirit, and your spirit has laws and principles just like anything else. Okay, it's not, you as a spirit, you're not just a mess inside. Even though you may as a human being experience a lot of chaos internal. We're going to see this in a moment, okay? But that's not because there's not laws and principles. That's because you don't know them and aren't applying them. Okay? So Psycanics is coming to know yourself as more than just a physical body and more than just a human identity, personality, and character, but also as an immortal spiritual being that has 13 characteristics and that operates according to laws and principles of the spiritual dimensions. Okay? So true spirituality is about your nature as a spirit. We're not talking about religions or dogmas or doctrines or faith or churches or any of that. Okay, we're talking about you as a spirit, and that the ultimate principle and creator of the universe is also a spirit, a infinite life energy creator entity, and that's where you come from. Okay? Now, religions do say that because they say you're a son of God, so to speak, okay? But we say it in a different manner. We say it scientifically, and we guide you to experience this, okay? So true spirituality is experiencing yourself, your being, as an immortal spirit, and it's reconnecting to the one infinite essence from whom you come, okay? For example, I've got many years working on myself, and I am now awakened and live in the consciousness of myself as a spiritual being, immortal spiritual being, operating a body here in the planet. And I also can perceive at will essence, the one creator being. Now, there's nothing special about this. Anybody can achieve it. In fact, that's what the purpose of essentiality is: guide those who wished to recover the experience of themselves as immortal spirits and to reconnect with essence. Most human beings aren't interested truly in that, but for those that are, we exist as a path. Okay, so in summary, Psycanics integrates all of these, okay? First of all, it's a science. It's the physics of transphysical energies, emotion, thoughts, and relationships, and everything that goes inside of your life and experience that isn't physical. Okay, all of that obeys laws and principles exactly. Okay, it's a psychology because it has formulas and laws that describe why people feel what they do, like where fear and anger and negative emotions come from, why people behave like they do. It describes very exactly the source of problems and conflicts in relationships. It describes the nature of addictions and compulsions and obsessions and phobias and how to eliminate these very quickly. In a few hours of the being transformation technology, energy processing, you can eliminate an addiction, for example, okay? So it's not only a psychology, but it's also a psychotherapy, although we don't like to call it that. Okay? It's a philosophy. It describes what is the true and ultimate nature of life and of being, which is actually ontology. We're going to see that one here next. and it describes what happiness is, where it is, and how to achieve it, okay? So it's also an ontology, which describes the nature of being, of consciousness and will, and where they come from, and how your being works, which is your spirit, okay? And it's a spirituality that describes your nature and operation as a spirit, and what are the laws of spiritual energy and spiritual experience, okay? So it integrates all of these into a single model, a theory of everything that explains all of them with one cosmology, with one set of axioms and theories and principles and laws and formulas, okay? Again, it's very exact. It consists almost entirely of laws and principles. Okay? All right. And Psycanics is spiritual because you are a spirit. You are a non-physical life energy entity consisting of consciousness and will. Now you have, like we said, 13 other characteristics, but we're not going to go into those, okay? Psycanics has no ecclesiastical authorities. Everything is testing, experiments, proof, and evidence. It has no doctrines or dogmas. It has nothing that you can't question. It never asks for belief or faith. It doesn't want you to believe anything. It wants you to first understand it and then try it out, check it, test it, okay, in your own life. It has no rites or rituals. It has no worship or obedience to a god or any kind of higher authority. On the contrary, it teaches you that you are the highest authority in your life, okay? And it has no rules or commandments, okay? It does have laws and principles, but the same way that physics or chemistry or biology does, they're descriptions of how things work, not something that becomes as a divine revelation from above, no. And it's all verifiable. You test everything in your own experience and see if it gives you the promised results or not. Now, since thousands of people already have these results, it's very doubtful that they're not going to give it to you. Okay. So to explain what Psycanics does, we have an analogy or metaphor of the jungle and the garden. Okay? So this is kind of what a physical garden looks like. Okay? It's all overgrown. It's almost impassable. It's full of brambles and thorns and spider webs and snakes and who knows what else. Imagine trying to navigate or walk through or live in this time in a jungle like this. Okay? Would it not be unproductive and a negative experience, correcto? Okay. So that's, when we say jungle, we're talking about this tangled mess. Okay? And this is what a garden looks like. Notice that everything is ordered, all the weeds and thorns and the vines and stuff are cleaned out. It's planted in grass and flowers and pretty trees and fruit trees, okay? It's a place that's very pleasant to be, and it's a place that's very ordered and very controlled. Okay. Now let's go and look at what a psychanic jungle looks like. By the psychanic, we mean your interior, non-physical experience. Okay? And what do we have there for most people? Okay, we have all these negative emotions. Here's guilt, here's anger, here's rage, here's depression. Okay, here's fear, here's grief, here's resentments, anxiety, loneliness. Okay, regrets, sorrow, traumas from the childhood, abuse, violence, sexual abuse, okay? We have feelings of impotence. I can't do it. I can't get what I want. We have feelings I am less than others. Over here, I'm a failure. Life is hard. I'm unable to do it. Okay, I'm a weak person. We have laziness. We have inaction, blocks to action. We have addictions, compulsions, obsessions. We have here phobias. We have lots of relationship problems and conflicts, no? Angers and shouting and arguing with others, okay? All right? Does this sound familiar to you? Okay, do you have any of this going on? Can you see this in other people around you? Of course, we can't really see what's going inside of them most of the time, but go to your own thing. How much negative emotions do you have? How much pain and suffering goes into your life? How much do you feel impotence and insatisfaction and you're not happy? Okay, notice that most humans spend more time in negative energy, negative thoughts, negative emotions, relationship problems, struggle and effort to get what they want in life than they do in positive energy of joy and satisfaction and harmony and manifesting what they want easily, and relationships of love and cooperation. Okay, we got positive life, negative life. Most people spend more time. They go up and down, things get worse, but most of their time, okay, they spend more time in the negative part below the line, neutral line, okay? They live up and down like this. They have moments of happiness, but the majority of their experience is in negative, okay? So all this internal universe of non-physical energies, thoughts and emotions and motivations and compulsions and addictions and relationships and unfulfilled desires, okay? All of that is chaotic. It's a tangled mess like the jungle we saw, okay? People don't know why they have those energies. They don't know where they come. They don't know what causes them. They don't know how to control them. They don't know how to eliminate them, okay? And this is what Psycanics teaches you, okay? Psycanics teaches you how to take this interior psychanic jungle of negative energies and behaviors and things and transform it into a psychanic garden so that your interior has eliminated all your negative emotions and negative thoughts and negative behaviors. Okay, and then you plant flowers and fruit trees, which is peace and serenity and self-confidence, enthusiasm all the time, love, true love for others, and joy. And you have the power over here to manifest what you want and to create natural abundance for you, okay, including a job that you like, because life is too short to spend it doing something just to make money that you don't like. Okay, you need to be in a work that you like. Harmonic relationships based in cooperation and love and joy, and lots of creativity, intuition and creativity. Okay? So, Psycanics teaches you how to transform your interior jungle of negative energy into a garden where there's order, there's beauty, there's serenity, there's peace, there's enthusiasm, there's love, there's harmony. You've eliminated all your addictions and compulsions and obsessions and your phobias. You've resolved all your relationship problems and conflicts, and you live in harmony, peace, serenity, and joy. Manifesting what you want to experience. A job or a career or a business that you love what you do, and that easily and naturally produces abundance for you. Okay? Okay, so now we're going to give you a guided meditation called the Jungle in the Garden. So you need to be in a safe place, free of interruptions and distractions. Take a meditative position. You can sit half lotus if you've been meditating already, or you can sit in a chair. It's just important that you're comfortable and that you can totally relax. Close your eyes. Turn off your mind. You don't want to be in your mind. You want to come down into your experience, into direct perception and feel, and where you're imagining the things that we're talking to you about, and then just follow the audio instructions. Okay, you can pause this until you are ready to begin the meditation. The Jungle to Garden Meditation. Imagine a savage, impassable jungle packed with weeds and vines, with briars and brambles, full of twisted trees, biting insects, spiders, and vipers. There is no order, no organization whatsoever. Everything is overgrown and so thick that you are powerless to move except by cutting your way through the tangled vegetation. Not a pleasant or happy place. This is how most people live in their private internal life. The interior world of most humans is a tangled snarl of negative energies, of painful emotions, negative thoughts, poor self-esteem, addictive behaviors, conflictive relationships, and lots of effort and struggle to control their external world. Most people spend more time in negative energy, that is, in unhappiness, pain, and suffering, than in the positive energies that are happiness. As Emerson put it, most people live lives of quiet desperation. How well does jungle describe your inner world? Let's take this inventory. Starting with your emotions. How much negative emotional energy are you experiencing each day? How often do you experience anger, frustration, impotence, anxiety, fear, worry, regret, guilt, sadness, loneliness, resentments, hate, depression, and any of the other negative emotions? And how many things are there in your life that trigger your negative emotions? Your negative emotions are the thorns that damage your happiness, that destroy your satisfaction, your enthusiasm, and joy in life. It is impossible to achieve true happiness while you still have negative emotions. Are you aware that you can eliminate your negative emotions forever? And now, what do you know about where your negative emotions come from, about what causes them? Do you live blaming others and external events for your negative emotions, for how you feel? That is an illusion. You are the sole creator of your emotions, all of them. As long as you live hallucinating that external events cause your emotions, you will have no control over them. And without control and elimination of your negative emotions, true happiness is impossible. Living a life where your interior world is full of negative emotions, where negative emotions are frequent, is living in the jungle. Okay, now let's leave emotions and go to self-image and self-esteem. Do you sometimes feel ignorant or less intelligent than others, or even stupid? Do you sometimes feel less capable than others? Do you ever feel weak or unable or powerless, or that you are a failure? Do you lack self-confidence, feeling insecure and uncertain about what you do or when you're with other people? Do you sometimes feel less valuable, less important, less deserving than others? Do you ever feel small, little, or insignificant? Do you ever feel that you are a bad person in any of your roles in life, such as a bad parent or a bad daughter? All these are negative self-image esteem energies in your internal jungle. They are all weeds that you must pull up to plant the flowers of a permanent, impregnable, positive self-esteem. Now let's go to your mind. How many of your thoughts are negative? Invalidations, judgments, criticisms, dislikes, and aversions. How often do you think, label that something is bad or is wrong or it should not be? How many things in life do you resist? Your own negative emotions, other people, what they do or say, events, situations, and circumstances. How many of those are bad and wrong and should not be, and you resist them with negative energy? You fight against them emotionally and mentally. Do you ever experience pessimism, cynicism, gloom, hopelessness, or dejection? And how much do you live in the glories of your past, the good old days? And how much do you carry around with you regrets and resentments and failures from your past? How much do those affect you in present time? And on the other side, the future, how much do you daydream about a better future, about I will be happy when and I achieve whatever or get whatever. You live in this illusion. And also about the future, how much do you worry or fear the future? All this living in the past, whether it's glories or regrets, and living in the future, whether it's daydreams and hopes or anxiety and fear, all of that is jungle. All of these negative energies in your mind destroy your peace and happiness in life. Now let's move to your negative behaviors. You may think that your behaviors are actions in the external world, in the physical world, and they are, but they are all caused and driven by energies in your internal psychanic universe, in your jungle. How many bad habits, addictions, compulsions, and obsessions do you have? Examples include addiction to alcohol, tobacco, to overeating, to junk food, to wasting time on television, on social media, excessive cell phone use, going shopping and overspending, computer and video games. How much do you procrastinate? How much are you lazy? Are you irresponsible? Do you start cycles and not finish them? How disorganized and inefficient are you? All of these negative behaviors originate in your internal energies, that is, in your psychanic jungle. Are you aware that you can eliminate all of these and recreate your behaviors in all positive? Now let's go to relationships. How many problems and conflicts do you have with the other people in your life? How many likes, aversions, and resistances do you have towards others? Every time you dislike a person, it is always because that person is activating something that you dislike in yourself. In your family, how many arguments are there? How often do you get angry with others? How much do you not like how others are, or how they behave, or how they treat you? And how much do you attack them with anger and negative energy when they don't do what you want? Notice the absence of harmony, love, and joy in your relationships. All this negative energy in your relationships is part of your psychanic jungle. Now let's look at how your internal jungle affects your external life in the physical world, because your external life is the reflection of your internal life. Look at your results in life, what you have and what you possess. First, are you passionate about or at least enjoy your work? Because happiness is difficult if you spend one half of your waking life doing things you don't enjoy only for money or survival. Do you live where you want? Do you have enough money? And are you free of emotional attachments to things? Are you living trying to achieve happiness by accumulating and hoarding material things, which is impossible? Do you ever feel that your life is heavy or dark or meaningless? Are you sometimes depressed about your external situation? All that is living in the jungle. In sum, observe all the unpleasant negative energies and actions and events in your life, both internal and external. All that is jungle. You have not gone in there and cleaned out the negative energy and created the positive things that you wish to experience. And this is because you don't know how all these things, how all your internal energies work. You don't know what causes them. You don't know how to stop the negatives from occurring or how to terminate them once they do occur, particularly your negative emotions. What you think you know about your emotions is wrong. So observe the chaos of your internal experience, your jungle, of how unpleasant, negative, and even painful it is. All this is what we mean by the psychanic jungle. Now let's leave the jungle and compare it with a life in the Garden of Eden. Psychanics is energy gardening. Graduates of the Psychanics Life Transformation Program have transformed their jungle into a garden. They have pulled up all the weeds, cut all the vines, cleaned out the spider webs and the snakes, and they have planted flowers and fruit trees so they live in a beautiful, ordered, positive only energy environment. They have discreated their negative self-image and created permanent experiences of self as being intelligent and wise, capable and powerful, strong and successful, and esteem of themselves as being good and worthy and deserving. They live in an impregnable positive self-esteem. They are free of caring about the opinions of others or trying to please others to gain their affections. They live their lives that they choose, not the lives that other people want them to. They understand the true nature of their emotions and have permanently eliminated all their negative emotions. Nothing that happens upsets them. They have zero triggers. Therefore, they live in serenity, peace, passion, and joy all the time, no matter what. They have also cleaned out all their traumatic incidents, all their regrets and resentments from the past. They have eliminated all their neurotic behaviors, their addictions and compulsions. They have eliminated all fears and phobias. They live in self-confidence and trust in the universe and in life. Their relationships are free of arguments and fight. They live in harmony, love, and cooperation. They are equally comfortable and happy being with others or with enjoying solitude. In the external physical universe, they consciously create and manifest what they need or want. At the same time, they are free of greed and ambition for ever and ever more, for accumulation and hoarding. They live in the experience of always having enough and of always being satisfied. If they want something, to travel, for example, then they consciously manifest that using the Psychanics creation technology. Their life is not centered in the accumulation of material things, but in experiences of all kinds, and above all, in personal growth. All of these things here are what it is to live in the Garden of Eden instead of a jungle of sweat and tears. Psychanics is the science of interior gardening, of how to convert your jungle to a garden. And you are the gardener. You are the only person who can eliminate your negative energies and behaviors and cultivate positive ones. How do you do this with Psychanics? You do it simply because everything in existence is energy. Just as everything in the physical universe is energy, including solid matter, so too is everything in your internal world, your emotions, your thoughts, and your identities. They are all energy. Just as all physical energy obeys laws and principles, so too does all your internal experience obey laws and principles. The laws of your emotions and thoughts of happiness and love are just as exact and as powerful as the laws that hold the stars in the heavens. Knowledge is power. As long as you do not know the laws of emotions, love, and happiness, you will not be able to control these and manifest what you want to experience. You will never be able to control your emotions and to achieve love and happiness by trying to control the external universe, control others, or material success. There is no causal relationship between your external world and your internal world. If you want your internal world to have positive experiences, you must work directly on your internal world. Psychanics is the science of how to do that, of your non-physical energies, of your internal life. Psychanics then shows how your internal life creates your external life. So now you have two paths before you. You can learn Psycanics and take control of your internal life, learn how to discreate your negative emotions, eliminate all your negative behaviors, and create relationships of love and harmony. Or you can do nothing and have your life continue as it is now, out of control, with lots of negative energies, living in the jungle. It's up to you. Thank you. End of this process. Okay, that's the end of the meditation. And that's the jungle and the valley of darkness, sweat, and tears versus the Garden of Eden and a very beautiful and fruitful life. The jungle versus the garden also illustrates one of the reasons that Psycanics is so much more powerful than normal psychotherapy and all other systems of personal change and development. There are a number of reasons by that one, but in this one right here, we want to look at this one. That to create a garden, you cannot simply try to plant flowers and trees in this jungle right here. Okay, if you try to plant flowers and trees in this, what's going to happen? Okay, they're going to get drowned out and smothered and choked out. They can't manifest into the middle of all this negativity. Okay, in order to turn this into this, okay, you must first clean out all the weeds over here and the thorn bushes and the briars and the brambles and the spider webs and the snake dens and whatever is here. You have to clear out all the negative first and start with, let's say, raw earth. Okay? Once all your negatives are gone, all your briars and brambles, then you can plant and expect to grow your flowers and your fruit trees and your grass and turn this into this. Okay? The same is true in your internal life. The law is you cannot create positives over the top of negatives already present. Okay? And here is why so many systems don't work. This is why affirmations give very poor results, and they tell you to think positive all the time, PMA, positive mental attitude, and to ignore the negative, and keep going to the positive things. That's not very effective. Okay? It's not very effective because as long as the negative's there, they're going to continue to exist. You must first discreate all the negatives in your psychanic universe, the negative emotions, your negative identities, your negative self-esteem, your negative thoughts, okay, your compulsions and your addictions. And then it is easy to create the positives. And these, now that they don't have the opposition of the negatives, and they're not trying to plaster over the negatives, your positives manifest easily. It doesn't take a lot of time or energy to create positives when there's no negatives opposing them. Okay? Therefore, the Psycanics life transformation system, this is life transformation system or life transformation program, starts with teaching you the discreation of the underlying subconscious causes of your negative experiences and results in life. Okay? This is important. We're going to the root of things. We're not going to worry about all the variations in your experience and the stuff that's going on in your life. That doesn't interest you. It doesn't matter. The power is going to the roots. Okay? How do we do this? Well, life works according to the causal sequence of be, feel, think, do, relate, and have, which is identities. Your feelings are your emotions, positive and negative. Thinking is everything going on in your mind, memories, knowledge, likes, dislikes. Your doing and behaviors are your addictions, your compulsions, your obsessions, and it's also your relationships, how you treat others and how they respond to you, what you say to them and how you respond to what they say to you. And your have is your results. Okay, your money, your house, everything that you create or produce in your life materially. Okay, and these causes, the causes of all your negative experiences in all of these arenas of life are always your negative states of being, your negative identities or nears over here in this area. This is cause of your life. You are the only thing that are alive. You're the only thing that has will and decision. Okay? Whether you know it or not, all the rest of your life from here on is flowing out of your being. And if your being has negative states in it, which we're not going to go into what these are, but they are written and described in the book of how to do precision self-therapy. Okay? We describe how and why these here cause all your negative experiences. And after each discreation of your negative states of being, you then create positives over here. So happiness is not the result of what you do or have. Happiness is the result of who you are being. And when you're being wise, intelligent, creative, powerful, able, capable, strong, valuable, deserving, worthy, lovable, and loving, and joyful, when you have a being like that, then naturally you produce positive results in life. So the manner in which you change all your life quickly and profoundly without years of struggle and effort is change yourself, change your being, change who you are. Okay? And when you change that, everything else changes, because life works according to a causal sequence, and you are the first, initial, and the only causal, alive, creative, determinative element in your life. Okay? So in Psycanics, different from other systems, we don't try to animate you with positive or tell you to start creating positive. No, we're going to take you deep down into the negatives first, because this is where the power is in the discreation of the negatives. Once you are able to discreate easily, then we will proceed to direct creation of positives, starting with the visions of each area of your life. Now, obviously, start first of all with your being, who you want to be. But once you have that changed and created, then how do you want to feel? How do you think? How do you want to have your relationships? What do you want to do in life, and what do you have? All of these are creations, but you have to be in a positive state of being in order to create positive in all of this. We've got to change your being. Okay? All right. Now I'm going to give you another reason why Psycanics is so much more powerful than current psychologies and psychotherapies, okay? We saw, number one, that we go to the creation, the discreation of negatives first, and only then to the positive. Okay, here's another one. Okay, so now we want to look at how the physical universe is put together, okay? The physical universe. We're talking about the area of physics and chemistry and thermodynamics and all the physical sciences, okay? Now, in the upper level, we'll call it, notice that there's an infinite variety in complexity of energy and matter. There are millions of molecules and substances and chemicals. No, there's all the metals, there's all the drugs that people are making, okay? And then at the intermediate level here, all of this complexity is composed of only 92 atomic elements. Okay, so by combining these 92 atomic elements in an infinity of variety and complexity, we produce the entire physical universe. But this isn't our maximum level of simplicity. Down here below even that, we have a fundamental level, okay, level number 3, of the subatomic composition of matter. And here there are only 3 particles: protons, neutrons, and electrons. We combine protons, neutrons, and electrons to form those 92 elements, and out of those 92 elements we have all the infinity and complexity of energy and matter in the physical universe. Correct? So if I go down here and I can manipulate matter and energy at this level, then I have enormous power over my results at these other levels. Okay? So here we're talking about level 1, how there are millions of substances and chemicals in the world and new ones being created all the time. Okay, there's infinite variety here. But here in level 2, everything is coming out of these 92 natural elements. Okay, now there's also about 10 or so man-made elements which are not stable. We're only interested in the 92 natural elements as shown here on the periodic chart. This right here is level 2, where we say everything's coming out of this level right here, the intermediate level. Okay, and then down here we have the atoms, okay, or the elements, because each element is an atom. Okay, but these atoms are not the ultimate reality or simplicity. Here we have neutrons, we have protons, and here we have electrons. Okay, so all the atoms, everything in the universe is made up of only these 3 particles: protons, neutrons, and electrons, in an infinite variety of combinations. Okay, so we have super complexity, intermediate simplicity, and then we have level number 1, which is the absolute maximum simplicity. Okay? Thus, to control matter, we need only to understand and control these 3 things. Okay? Now, we don't yet have this control. We can break atoms apart and we can crash them into them, but we haven't really learned how to convert, say, lead into gold. We will probably someday, but it's still a ways away. But it's theoretically possible. Okay? Now, the point here is that underneath the infinite variety and complexity of the material universe, there is minimalism and simplicity. There are a few same patterns repeated over and over again. These are the patterns of protons, neutrons, and electrons, okay? Which then form atoms, which then form molecules and composite substances and everything that exists. Okay, so in this triangle that we're talking about, okay, over here, up here is the variety and infinite complexity. Here is the intermediate simplicity, and down here is just a few elements. All right, so we want to turn this. We have level 3, infinite complexity, level 2, intermediate complexity, and level 1, simplicity. Okay. In the same way, at the level 1 of human experience, there is an infinite variety of human situations, events, and circumstances. Everybody's life is different, and it's a kaleidoscope of events and the people and their work and what they do, what happens to them. They get sick, they get well, they have a car accident, they take a vacation. One person goes to Africa, another one goes to South America, and somebody else goes to Russia, whatever. The variety of human experiences and the events and the situations and circumstances of each life is completely unique, and it's an infinite variety. Okay, everybody's life is different. Everybody who's ever been born, their life is different. Everybody who's going to be born, their life is going to be unique. Okay, would you agree with that? Okay, so that at level 1, life is a parade, a kaleidoscope of every varying people's events, circumstances, and situations. Infinite variety. The same way that we have the infinite variety up here at level 1 in the physical universe. Okay, next level. Okay. Human aberrations. An aberration is anything you are experiencing that you don't want to feel. Negative emotions, relationship problems and conflicts, compulsions, addictions, anything, everything. An aberration is a deviation from the desired course. That's what it is. So it's anything negative in your life, okay? So at that level, number 1, the events and situations are infinite in variety and quantity, okay? The Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, that's the DSM, of the American Psychology Association, okay, lists over 450 aberrations. Anxiety disorders, mood disorders, psychotic disorders, eating disorders, addictions, compulsions, impulse controls, obsessive compulsive, social anxiety disorder, traumatic stress syndrome, etc., etc., etc. Okay? However, now we're going to go down to level 2. Okay, so we're down here. Now, down here, we find, again, that things are becoming more simple, and they're becoming the same patterns of human experience for everyone. Okay, so here, everyone has the same negative emotions. They have the same negative thoughts. They have the same negative behaviors. They have compulsions and addiction. Now, maybe their addiction is different, which is the infinite variety up here in level 3. Okay, but the pattern of addiction is the same for everybody, even though one is alcohol and another is cigarettes and drugs and whatever. Okay, the thing you're addicted to can vary a lot, but the fact of addiction is universal for all human beings. Okay, and negative relationships, problems, conflicts, and discussions. Again, who you're in conflict with and what the conflict is about is infinite variety. But the fact of having conflicts and problems, that's a universal simplicity for everybody. Okay, addictions, compulsions, blocks to positive actions, blocks to writing, laziness, irresponsible, all these things. So in level 2 here, we get into some universal patterns, and there are a lot fewer. This is like the 92 elements here at level 2 in the physical universe. Okay? And again, just as in the physical universe, number 3, we have infinite complexity and variety, and number 2, we have patterns. Down here in level 1, we get down to only one primordial element, which is your being. Okay? So just as all physical substances come first from the 92 elements, and then from only the 3 particles down in here, okay, that's not all aberrations have only a single underlying cause that has 4 varieties, okay, and there's one cure for all of them. Okay, so let's see that here, okay? Now we're in the construction up here of your psychanic universe, not the physical universe. This is the universe of your interior experience of all your emotions and thoughts and relationships and behaviors and likes and dislikes, right? This is all your non-physical energy. And everybody's psychanic universe has an infinite variety and complexity of their human lives, right? Of your people, events, and situations and circumstances. But in this one, we have the same patterns over and over. We have the same 30 negative emotions. We have the same patterns of negative thoughts. I can't do it. I'm not good enough. I'm less than others. I'm weak. That's bad and wrong. That should not be. They did it to me. I'm the victim. There's the same patterns here over and over again. And then we find that down below all of this, there is the causal sequence and the fundamental element of being and its 4 identities. Okay? So we're comparing this to how the physical universe has that same construction. So too does your psychanic universe. And this is where Psycanics works. We go in here into this part of your being. And by changing here, we can change anything in these areas. Normal psychology and other systems, they're all working up here trying to work with the circumstances and with the other people and your addictions and your substance, and they're all trying to make changes up here in your life. Okay? That's very hard to do, and it's infinite variety and complexity. The power to make fast and easy and big changes lies down here when you're working down here in the subatomic level, let's call it. Okay? And this is where Psycanics works, and that's where it's power. So Psycanics produces magic, that is, big, fast, and easy changes in your life by teaching you how to control those 4 underlying elements of your being. These are your positive essence, identity, realities. They are explained in the book. Okay? So in Psycanics, it doesn't make a lot of difference what your aberration is. If it's a negative emotion, if it's a compulsion, if it's an addiction, if it's a relationship problem, if it's it's a phobia, if it's a block to changing jobs or to getting a divorce or a trauma, a divorce, or a trauma, sexual trauma, it doesn't make a lot of difference because we're not going to worry about those. We're going to go down to the underlying causes down here, deep inside of you, that's producing all these manifestations of negative experience and negative behavior. And this is why Psycanics, one of the reasons why Psycanics is so powerful. Okay? So Psycanics works going to that underlying cause, okay, down here, and working at this level to discreate that, and that will change all of these things up here above. Most psychology and things are working up here or they're working up here. They don't even know what these true underlying causes are. That's part of the new discoveries of Psycanics. So Psycanics is a physical, non-physical energy. All energy, okay, physical and non-physical or Psycanic, obeys exact laws and principles. As Einstein said, God does not play dice with the universe. Okay? So the laws of your jungle or garden, depending on what you've created, of your internal energies, of your psychanic, non-physical experience, emotions, mind, relationships, are just as precise and powerful as the laws that hold the galaxies together. Okay? There are no accidents, coincidence, or randomity in your interior life, in your psychanic experience. Therefore, in your behaviors and in your relationships and in your happiness or your unhappiness, pain, and suffering in your life. All energy, physical and psychanic, operates according to laws and principles. Knowledge is power. When you don't know the laws, you will have no control and you will have chaos and a lot of what you do not want, a lot of negative things. Okay, which is the jungle. And this is the life of most humans, both in their psychanic universe and in their life. Okay, in their relationships with others, in their job, in manifesting what they want. Okay, it's a life of struggle and effort and insatisfaction and conflict and problems. Okay, because they don't understand the laws of non-physical energy, of their own emotions and minds and behaviors and relationships. Okay? When you know the laws, you have control and you can produce what you want to experience, which for most people is love and harmony and happiness and abundance. Okay? So Psycanics is the laws of your non-physical energy and experience and your behaviors. It is the knowledge that is power over life. Okay? All right. So that's the end of video 1 of this series of those videos. If you would like to know more, if you would like to have an introduction to how Psycanics works, why it's so powerful, we invite you to go to video number 2.